Hello everyone, this is Heroes Trivia. Welcome back to Group C as we continue with our second match here between Beihai Butchers and ImperatorTay. And looking at their composition, we have Beihai Butchers going with the all Nanman comp with Mulu so that he can have the wolf packs as well as the war elephants. And then we have Lady Zhurong and Meng Huo for their Power of Love bonus, and a lot of Follower of the Flame as a decent infantry option, and 2 tigers just to be disruptive. Then on ImperatorTay's side, we see the return of the 2 Yellow Turban plus 1 8 Prince combo, just like he did in his first matchup. He Yi is picked, now with much better unit here. Youxia is definitely the best choice in He Yi's roster in my opinion, especially if you're going infantry. And then we have Pei Yuanshao, who I believe is making his first appearance in the tournament. He is a very interesting general as he does have some strategist abilities such as Wisdom the River, which makes him quite underrated. And then finally we have Sima Yue, who has been played once already, and he's bringing some Dao sword guards, or saber guards, I forgot what they're called, but basically they're saber users as an infantry option, a small variety from the Han variety that's just called saber, and we'll see how this plays out on the battlefield. And just taking a look at the deployment, we see that the wolf pack has been pushed up in the forest. They want to close gap in case there's any enemy range. They have good javelins as well as really good charge that can be boosted when there are other wolf pack nearby. So you can see their charge becomes 168, their speed also increases to 60, so they're basically a cavalry unit with spearmen charging at a very high rate. It's a very powerful unit when used properly, but they're also very fragile in terms of defensive stats, especially against range. And then we have the rest of them on units behind with the generals, and then we have ImperatorTay also pressed up with his units. Everyone's in formation already. Very tightly packed formation, which is really not how you want to fight. Because if you think about it, if a charge command's issue right now, they all clump up against one target. You want to open up wide, get some flanking angles, either from the side or from the rear if possible. This tightly packed formation, if an elephant should charge through, will look very ugly. So let's see how it goes. Virtuous Nobleman, weird unit count again, 70% of a regular unit. They are melee cav, so they're good against range protection. But aside from that, it's very defensive, a little bit of charge bonus. It's not a terrible unit. I think the only thing against them is they have only 70% of the retinue. So 21 units instead of 30. As I mentioned before, Pei Yuanshao is kind of like a strategist, Inspiring Surge plus Wisdom River. And then also have a commander skill on top. Everyone's just kind of staring at each other for now. Is that a poison? Are we going to get a poison dagger use? Nope, charging the cavalry. Wow, that's brave. That is brave. Debuffed. We got the Elephant of Mulu going after infantry. As much as I want to see how they fare here, I want to see the infantry getting kind of pushed around. Now, the formation is helping a bit here because you are getting charge resistance. You're not getting pushed back, but you can see just like how densely packed the units are. You're just going to get pushed around by the elephants. Not all of them will die, but that's still more damage than you necessarily need to take. The general has come back to fight Mulu. Mulu has a couple abilities. Here come the actual elephants. Lady Zhurong's about to die. It's a very risky charge here. Oh, here comes. Oh my god. You can see the charge resistance kind of slowing them down, but then they just push through just because the mass difference is just way too much. Lady Zhurong has died. Here comes the wolf pack, the javelins going in. You see those javelins coming into the cavalry. And then they collide and then they win. Elephants stuck with the densest infantry formation ever. I mean, sure, they're killing the elephants. The formation is helping. Without the formation, it would be even worse, but don't keep the units all together like this. This one gets routed off. It will bounce back. Here comes the Follower of the Flame. They're going to be erasing evasions here. So whatever benefit they were getting from the shield wall of the extra 10% evasion, it just evaporates when the flames come in. Beihai Butchers is just going brute force. Tigers unleashed already. They're disruptive over here. You see the flanking angles. Mulu's already dead. The general's just been thrown in there. Elephant comes back, goes in for a flank. Now without the formations, they're just going through these infantry. And more is piling in. They're getting the full surround. You make it easier to get flanked when you're tightly packed like this as well. Now, Sima Yue is going to be unbreakable. But he should stay close because he does provide a passive boost. Although it's really not going to mean anything because of these Follow the Flame, and they're just erasing every evasion they touch. And that's pretty much what's happening. With 3 generals here, if we get some good Flame of the Phoenix usage, maybe we can clear some of these infantry. The evasion boost, yeah, the Flame is totally countering that. It's still helpful because you get some. This group has not been touched by the flames, but you can kind of see the ones that are touched are already gone. The elephant's just making paths through. Menghuo is going to die too because we have a dismounted general situation over here by He Yi and Sima Yue, and I'm sure Menghuo is going to get killed here soon. But that's not going to matter. The units are actually winning this battle. We'll see if the generals can bring it back. It's possible, actually. Let's kill Menghuo quickly. Army loss. Army loss. Sima Yue is the only one. Here comes Elephant again. The cycle charge on Elephant's great. The initial charge, obviously with the formations, not much you can do about it, but that's fine. They still got their values worth. Sima Yue needs to kite in this situation. Sima Yue needs to kite out, come back in every time he has flame, and then kite out, come back every time he has flame, because he's the fastest unit here on horse, since all these Naman units are not cavalry units. But staying in here is not a good idea. He's gonna get worn out here. Yeah, just come back for that. If he waits out with the flame cooldown, he can win this fight. Are the generals possibly bouncing back because army loss is more even now? Yes. Well, this is gonna be close. Oh, Sima Yue's death. And then the unit gets killed and the army loss swings back. I don't think they come back in time. Yoxia are unbreakable. That's their benefit. But army loss kicked back in. Yep. So there's one guy left. Don't celebrate. They got him. Well, this was a bloodbath, this particular little area here. I like some of the adaptation. I think ImperatorTay with the dismounting of the generals, that was a good move. I think when Sima Yue was the only one left, if he could have got back on his horse or just run out of this mess, let Yoxia tank it, wait for cooldown, come back in, do the slam, come back in, do the slam, he can definitely swing the battle back, and the 2 other generals will actually come back. If the army loss isn't so bad and it was close, then they would have probably won the fight. I think Beihai Butchers just brute forced this battle. There was no strategy or grace to it. He picked a very aggressive comp. He just went with it. He suicided Lady Zhuorong into enemy cavalry. Cavalry beats generals in most cases. There's just more of them. And she didn't use any of her poison daggers, even though I think there was a couple openings where the generals weren't really moving, and she just kind of went in there and got killed. So that was that, and Mulu tanked in right to all those infantry. I don't even think he used any of the abilities. Maybe he did. I didn't catch any of them, at least not during the initial charge. And then the other elephant just came in. Sure, a lot of them were lost, but they did more than their fair share of damage. And then once the Follower of the Flame came up, they were able to shred the enemy evasion. I think if the infantry were in a straight line in this case, where the elephants can't get value through a charge, they go through only one unit and they have to go through very slowly, it probably would have worked out a lot better. And that obviously didn't happen. So let's take a look at the numbers. And the elephants got around 200 kill for the one that kind of stayed around. The other one got only 72. So I don't think the elephants are that insane. That formation that was used helped out quite a bit early on, but could have just stayed in formation, not clumped. I think that would be better. You do the same slow on the elephant. You don't have to go, have 3 units get walked through by 1 elephant charge and rinse and repeat. The wolf pack was a great choice. The generals were used very poorly by Beihai butchers, but I guess speed is the game here with that aggressive charge, and came out ahead just by a hair, and ImperatorTay take the loss here. As you can see, Sima with that flame ability got so many kills in the end there. If he could just stayed on horseback or maybe remounted or even just walked out of there with the Yosia holding down the fort and then came back in and do the Flame of Phoenix even just 1 extra time without losing so much health, I think that could have probably bought enough time for He Yi and Pei Yuanshao to come back, and really shows you the value of the morale of generals, and the army swing can affect things, even in this case where Beihai Butcher pretty much lost 2 generals early versus all 3 still being alive for ImperatorTay and still coming out kind of close there with the army pushing things the other way. Now, this is the final match for ImperatorTay. He dropped out of the tournament after this loss. He basically went MIA, and we couldn't contact him for any of the games. He did reply a couple times, but he just never showed up for his any 2 remaining match. Maybe got discouraged after these 2 losses, or maybe life gets in the way. So we don't really know, and not really going to judge him on this. It's a community event. People, join for free to participate in this just friendly community event. So if they don't want to play anymore, nothing against them. It will, however, affect this group quite a bit because he only played against Beihai Butchers and Liu Meng. He did not play against Barbaric Ben and King of Yan. So those 2 players will be 1 game short. It's hard to make up for that game. It wouldn't be fair to any of the participants in this group as well as other groups, because if we switch opponents or if we artificially give them a win, it really shifts how people advance. So those 2 players would just be without a game, and that's the way this group will shape out, and we'll see how those results work. We'll still go by records. So for example, if King of Yan wins out his game, he's 3-0. He would beat anyone with a 3-1 record just by win percentage there, also head to head, and that will just carry the day. If he only gets 3 games and he goes 2-1, then unfortunately he's not going to advance with that. So that's how things will be, and he also can't be considered for the final 3 spots in that case as well, because he's just missing a game and we don't have the game time for that, and averaging out his 2 other games wouldn't really make the situation fair either. So that's kind of the situation we have with ImperatorTay, and we're going to continue on with the tournament. There's 1 more game today, as we'll have King of Yan facing off against Barbaric Ben, the 2 final players in this group who has yet to play, and then we'll wrap things up with the 5 final matches tomorrow. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and see you all next time. Bye!